Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to another amazing segment of the Black Girl Encourage Her. I am your host, Shaniqua Inspires, and we are continuing on this journey to spread the encouragement across the airwaves. So, without further ado, I got another heavy hitter that I am bringing to the stage. So, please, I'd love to introduce you all to my new friend, Demetria Buie. Yes, let's get her up to the stage. I need to make it so that we can get some applause or something going on, right? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world, Demetria. How are you on this day?
I am awesome. How are you?
Listen, I am blessed. I am highly favored, and I am so excited to be able to
Yes,
have this interview with you. It feels like we've been waiting to do this. The anticipation has
yes,
been great, but we are finally here. We are finally ready to get these words of encouragement out of
yes,
you and into the
yes,
hearts and minds of all of my viewers. So,
yes.
Demetria, please introduce yourself to the people.
Yes. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so honored and I'm so excited. I absolutely love your show.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I am Demetria Buie. I am from Louisiana. I'm 38 years old. I am a mother of 11-year-old boy. So I am still learning a lot in motherhood.
Yes.
I have written over 20 books. I have a magazine for women. I host yearly summits for male and female entrepreneurs. And I'm just super excited to be here today. So,
I love it. Girl, listen. I think I be
yeah.
impressing people when I tell them about my 15 books. Here, Demetria come up on here. She's like, "Oh, I got 20 books." Right
Oh, girl.
now, answer this for me, Demetria. Before we get into
Yeah.
our real conversation for today,
Yes.
what is it like for you having 20 books? Like, what does that mean to you? What does that represent for you?
Mm, wow. Wow. That's a story within itself. Actually, I was just writing about that. I am actually working on my first novel.
Ooh,
And I was thinking about like all the books that I have written. They was just inspirational books. But the truth is that a lot of time when I was writing, actually I was writing what other people wanted me to write
mm,
and what I felt other people wanted me to write. And I was trying to actually write to please other people. But a lot of those books came from a dark place also. And that means a lot to me because, through my life, people have told me, oh, you can't do this or you can't do that. So as I do look back and I look at those stacks of books, I'm like, wow, I did it. And, you just have to give yourself that moment like, wow, like, man, I really did something that people said I couldn't do. Or other than that, I did something that I didn't really think I could do, you
yeah.
know? And so it means a lot to me. And most of all, I'm just thankful for my readers, for the ones who definitely just read those books.
Yeah, amazing. I always feel like it becomes so overwhelming to people when you have one book and it's like your staple book and you run with it
Uh-huh.
and you talk about it everywhere you go. But
Yeah.
when you have more and more, it doesn't mean that one is less than the others.
Mm-hmm.
It really is
Right.
the answer to what people need, right? So you
Right.
are
Mm-hmm.
responding to what people are
Mm-hmm.
saying to you, what people are crying out to you. So you are
Mm-hmm.
responding. So it's likened
Yeah.
to, a parent or a mom who has more than one child, right? It's not
Yeah.
that you love, the first one more than anyone or the last one more than anyone else.
Yeah.
No, you love them all, but everything came in a season, right? So everything
Mm-hmm.
has its
Oh
season
yeah.
to shine, but you
Oh
still
yeah.
hold all, even if you had 20 kids, right? You would still hold all 20 of them near and dear to your heart.
Yeah.
So when I
Yeah.
heard that, I said I just had to ask that question because people see me, they see me with all of these books, and their minds are blown. It's like, wow, how could you? And I'm like, it really not that it gets easier, but you
Uh-huh.
learn the rhythm of it. Like you
Oh
learn the rhythm
yeah.
of it. So after you push out the first one, then the
Yeah.
subsequent ones, you've got the
Yeah.
rhythm down packed.
Yeah.
So
It's like
it
some type
gets
of drug. You
easier.
can't stop. And I'll
Yeah,
be like, oh, this is
yeah.
my last book. And I'm like, I'm done. And I next thing you know, I'm getting a pen. I'm getting, back to writing. I'm getting in my phone. It's like a,
It's almost
it's
like a
addiction.
addiction, right? Like I
Yeah,
gotta get it out.
it is
I
a
gotta get it
writing
out.
addiction. Ah, I love
Yes.
that.
But yes, congratulations to you in penning those books, because again, it's not easy to share your story, to share your testimony with the
Mhm.
world, because you literally are exposing yourself. It's like you're taking
Right.
someone into your heart, the deeper inner parts of your
Mhm.
hearts or your mind, and you're sharing that with the world, especially the type of books that you've mentioned that you've written. I myself write inspirational books, so it is
Mhm.
coming from a place of hurt, a place
Mhm.
where there was lack once upon a time. So it
Mhm.
does come from a
Yeah.
rooted position. So, what I wanted to speak to you about, and I know there were a number of things that we really could talk about on today, but what I really wanted to talk to you about is about brokenness.
Mhm.
Can you describe to us what a broken woman looks like?
Mhm. Yes, yes, man. Um, I wrote the book From Broken Woman to Businesswoman, and I talked about the broken pieces of me from being an entrepreneur. And I feel like as an entrepreneur, we hear all the success stories. Oh, make the millions, and you're there. You have arrived, and this and that. And I said, you know what? I was afraid to share my story, for a very long time. Even when after I wrote my autobiography, and then on down the line, it was like more coming. And
Mhm.
so I'm like, you know what? If I did it once, I can do it again. And
Yes.
so in the book, I began to talk about the broken pieces of me. And I wanted to write this book for other entrepreneurs too, because a lot of them are frustrated. They wanted to give up. They're jealous, they're envy of other people. And success is, when they see people flying and saying they got millions of dollars and they this and that, all of this. And I'm like, there's so much behind the scenes as especially a full-time entrepreneur.
Mhm.
And the broken pieces of me that I talk about is the divorce part
Mhm.
of being an entrepreneur, and ended up getting married. And after that, didn't know that that would be one of the biggest decisions that a person can ever make in their life, is who they're going to spend the rest of their life with.
Yeah.
And I'm like, here I am, an entrepreneur, but my relationship, my marriage was failing and my business was blooming, to be honest with you.
Hmm.
I walked off my job in 2013. I was working in the kitchen at a hospital, was barely making $7 an hour.
Wow.
And they was like, oh, clean up this, do this. And I got there and I'm like, do I really have to settle for this? Do I really have to take this?
Hmm.
And on the lunch break, I'm like, I put that dish towel down and I walked out. And I went outside and I leaned against the pole and I said, God, there has to be more for me.
Yes.
And since 2013, I have not been back on a job
Oh,
since. I've had my lights cut off.
wow.
I've had struggle, couldn't buy food, couldn't do this, but I had a dream. I had
Mm.
a vision, and it was hard.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. But guess what? I didn't post it on social media. You
Hmm.
didn't hear it on Instagram.
Yeah.
I barely called friends or whatever you want to call them, barely called anybody and told them. And I worked every single day.
Yeah.
And, of just really just dealing with stuff from the past also. So here you are as a full-time entrepreneur, you're trying to forgive, you're trying to get over the past, you're trying to run a successful business, you're trying to create, you're trying to do all these things.
Hmm.
And that broken woman of me was like, where do I go? from here. You know, especially after that divorce, it was a big wake up call for me.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of my biggest one of my biggest wake up calls. It
Yeah.
really was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And
Yeah.
you actually tapped into the plight of an entrepreneur. And I'm big in business and supporting new entrepreneurs, aspiring
Mhm.
entrepreneurs, and just
Mhm.
getting them to a place where they get to tap into that purpose, to tap into those
Mhm.
dreams. And I loved how
Mhm.
you mentioned, and I'm not saying to anyone, I don't want anyone to start feeling bad and start feeling like they need to walk out from work. No, no, that's not what we're saying.
Oh no, no,
We're not trying to
no.
tell nobody to leave their job, and
No,
we're
definitely
not at that moment. But it's the inspiration where
Mhm.
you had to be at that level to be able to speak to God to say, really? Is this
Mhm.
it? Is this all that I'm called to
Mhm.
do? And I don't think many adults are bold enough to ask that question, right? A lot of times we say,
Mhm.
don't you question God. Well, God, I got a big question
Mhm.
that I do need to
Mhm.
question. Is this all
Mhm.
you have for me? Is this the path that
Mhm.
you have me on? And I
Yeah.
love how you just took that leap of faith,
Yeah.
even in spite of the lights getting cut off, the trials, the tribulations, you still stayed true to your convictions. And you
Yeah.
knew that there was more out there for you.
Yes. Yes.
So, what would you say, Demetria, to a woman? She's got this taste in her
Mhm.
mouth, and she's
Mhm.
just like, she's tasting a little bit of this,
Mhm.
tasting a little bit of that. And she's just like, I
Yeah.
can't get that taste satisfied. Meaning
Mhm.
there's something more that she should be doing in life, but she just
Mhm.
hasn't stumbled upon it yet. What
Mhm.
advice, what encouragement would you say to her?
Man, you know what? This goes back to when I walked off my job in 2013. And it was that intuition.
Hmm.
And growing up, you know, in the church and everything, and you never, oh, you'll hear from God. And I never understood what hearing from God was or following my own path. I was like, thought I was going to hear this big voice and be like, Demetria,
James Earl Jones
turn,
is gonna do the voiceover,
yeah,
right?
I just never knew
Yes.
what God, and I thought I was just going to hear his voice in my sleep, or I didn't know
Mm-hmm.
what, you know, and all along it was follow your intuition.
Yeah.
And I was like, what, I started like, what is your intuition? It's that gut feeling.
Mm-hmm.
It's that feeling that's telling you what to do.
Yeah.
And when you feel it, it's like, man, it can be uncomfortable. It
Mm-hmm.
can be unrecognizable. It can be, it's different.
Yeah.
And walking off, that was that intuition. And I didn't know what tomorrow or my next year was going to look like.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, here I am.
Yes.
I'm at home with a 2-year old. His dad is not around.
Mm.
His dad is not helping. He's still 2, so he still want milk, all this
Mm-hmm.
other stuff. And so here I am getting government assistance,
Yeah.
food stamp, all this stuff,
Mm.
and I'm like, this is not my forever,
Yeah.
but I have to do what I have to do at that moment. But yeah, it's that intuition, and you have to follow it.
Yeah.
And I had to follow it without going to ask somebody else about my life. I
Mm.
had to follow it without going to church and, looking for somebody to give me a word or
Mm-hmm.
do this for me, or
Yeah.
that thing that people look for because
The
they
confirmation,
don't
honey. That's
know.
all. Everybody wants the confirmation. God is like, I'm sitting
Yeah,
here
yeah,
I'm telling
yeah,
you, but you're running
yeah,
around for everyone to confirm it. And it's like, do
yeah,
you not trust what you heard me
yeah.
say?
Yeah, yeah, it was definitely that. And it's kind of like this journey can be a lonely journey,
Yeah.
but that's okay. It's not a bad thing. It's
Mm-hmm.
not a bad thing. And I followed that intuition, but along the road, I was so afraid of that intuition because I heard it so loud. And I
Mm.
was like, it was the most scariest thing in my life.
Yeah.
And I was like, God has given me this gift. And I was like, because I could get in someone's presence and pick up so much, whether they liked me or not, whether they wanted me around or not, whether they was tired of me. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
But my advice is to follow that intuition. It's telling you who to do business with. It's telling you who to get in a relationship with. Because when I got married in 2017, um, I knew I wasn't, I didn't have to go pray about it. I didn't have to do nothing. I knew I wasn't supposed to marry him. I
Hmm.
mean, I knew I wasn't even supposed to be talking to him, but
Wow.
I did it anyway. Even his mom was like, don't marry my son. Do not,
Wow.
his brother told me, his friends told me, you
Wow.
know,
Wow.
and I did it anyway. But I knew from the beginning inside before anybody else told me. But I tell women, follow that intuition,
Yeah.
follow it, follow, man, that gut feeling that you're
Mhm.
feeling. What are you feeling next for yourself?
Yeah.
What have you written down for yourself? And are you crystal clear about what you want? And the other day, I was coaching this guy, well, mentor. I really don't call it coaching, but mentoring this guy. And I said, what it is that you want out of life?
Mhm.
And he said, whatever God wants for me.
Mhm.
And I was like, okay, but what does that look like
Yeah.
for you? What does it look like?
Mhm.
Because you have to speak what it is that you want. You have to speak it. And once you put it out into it's out in the atmosphere. It's out there once you speak it, you know, and so yeah, that's my advice. I know it sounds simple, but
Mhm.
man, it's going to carry you through your
Yeah.
entire destiny. It's going to carry you to your entire journey, your destiny, all of that.
Absolutely. I wholeheartedly agree with it.
Mhm.
I had did this series in the month of September where we were on this
Mhm.
heal her journey, and
Mhm.
every morning I was getting up, I was doing my Facebook lives while I was on my walk, and I'm just walking and
Mhm.
I'm sharing with people who tune in about what I'm hearing God say, and
Yeah.
based off of the scripture. So God would lead me to
Mhm.
scriptures. I would read the scriptures, and then I would just give my interpretation on it. But one of the things that I
Mhm.
always told people, don't take my word for it. Don't take my word for it. This is as according to Shaniqua inspires. Like this is who it's according to. This
Mhm.
is what God
Mhm.
told me. And I said one of the things that I encouraged people to do was to learn what God's voice sounds like. And the
Mhm.
only way you can learn what God's voice sounds like is when you seek after him. When you have those
Mhm.
conversations that nobody want to talk about, right? Why did I
Mhm.
marry this dude and I knew I shouldn't have married? Like those are the conversations
Mhm.
nobody wants to have in real life with
Mhm.
anyone. But if you can bring
Yeah.
those to God, that's how you're going to find your answers. And it is about trusting
Mhm.
what it is that you get, the gut feeling, discernment, right? Some people
Mhm.
might know it as
Mhm.
discernment. It is that wisdom
Mhm.
that God says,
Yeah.
you've studied my word, you follow my course.
Mhm.
Now, what are you going to do with it? Do you need me to speak
Mhm.
it out A, B, C, D, E, F, G, or can you take what you've learned and now apply it? So certain things have to be practical. So we have to
Yeah.
be able to say that we need to now apply it. There's a practicum. In nursing, there's always a practicum in something. You learn something, now you've got to demonstrate it. So you've
Yeah.
learned what you've learned. Now it's time to demonstrate. And your
Mhm.
demonstration for you in that season was walking away from your job, right?
Yes.
Walking away from that thing that was doing more harm to you than good.
Yeah.
Because yes, you were getting, paid for it. We all have jobs, we get paid. There's a compensation, I do the work, you give me money. We love that type of give take relationship.
Mhm.
But when
Yeah.
you're being feeling defeated, when you're feeling abused, when you're feeling
Mhm.
mistreated, you're not feeling like you're living your life
Yeah.
on purpose, there has to be a change.
Oh, yes.
Has to be a change.
Yes.
So
Has to.
I loved how you shared that testimony about some of the struggles you've endured in your past, whether it was walking away from your job, and I can attest to that, or a divorce. I can attest to that too, girl. Like we over here, looking like bookends. But you
Yes.
found your triumph. Where do you believe
Mhm.
your triumph came from?
Man, a lot of what I questioned about. As you was talking earlier, we always saying, why me? Why this? Why I have to go through this? And so now at the age of 38, and I'm like, okay, I understand why I went through AYZ or this, why, whatever it was. I understand
Mhm.
why I went through what I went through. And so as I look back, I'm like, man, if I never went through this or went through that, if my uncle and our family almost tried to molest me at 16,
Wow.
I question that. I dropped out of school in the 8th grade. So that's junior high. I was like, man, why? And, being homeless at the age of 21, and I'm talking about homeless, no food, nowhere to go on the
Wow.
streets, not
Wow.
homeless where these people got homes and air and stuff and they talking about they homeless. No,
Mhm.
I'm talking about nowhere to go, nowhere to live, nobody to turn to. And I went through a lot of that. And my dad died when I was 18, walked into the hospital and didn't even know he was dead. And they came in the room and I was like, oh yeah, he died. And they pulled a cover over his face. And I
Wow.
walked out and that was it. And so after that, just leaving the hospital and all of that.
Mm.
But just through my life of just getting in the car accident in 2010 and having to come home back to where I didn't want to be at. I had this thing where I was like, I hated my mom because I felt like a lot of stuff, like I was like, you didn't protect me, you wasn't there for
Mm.
me, blah, blah, blah. And I got into the car accident that actually forced me to come back home. And so now, about 3 weeks ago, my mom has been diagnosed with cancer.
Wow.
And so as I look back just through everything, I'm like, okay, God, this is why you had me to come back. And if it wasn't for the car accident, somebody was going 60 and a 30, hit me head on.
God.
So it was, out of work, it was this, it was that, in 2010. And so I came back and, I was like, man, that was that rekindling that relationship with my mom.
Mhm.
That was that forgiveness that needed to happen. And we started having a really good relationship, but it was our relationship,
Mhm.
being like the best friends, going to the store together every day.
Nice.
And so now just seeing her now of just starting chemo last week and just being there with her every day. And I was like, oh, this is what happens in life, and so just through everything that I've been through in life, I'm like, man, this have made me into the woman who I love today.
Mhm.
Are you a new or aspiring entrepreneur? Then it's time to unlock the hidden treasures of entrepreneurship. Get your business readiness assessment today.
And my friend said something so powerful to me last 2 weekends ago when I had um when I had my summit in Los Angeles,
Yes.
and she told me a story, and she looked at me and she said, you are good enough right now.
Mm.
She said, I want you, she's older than me, she's in her 50s, and she said, Demetria, I want you to love yourself right now. She said, I don't care if you're a size 18, I don't care if you are a size 20, you are good enough
Yeah.
right now. And she said, you meet somebody, know that you are good enough right now. And she
Mhm.
said, to start that business or to become whatever you want to become, know that you are good enough right now. Because a lot of times, so many of us, we trying to wait. Oh, when I get into size 6, I'll be good
Yeah.
enough. When I
Yeah.
get enough money, I'll be good enough. When
Mhm.
I meet somebody, I'll be good enough. When
Mhm.
I become this or that or or somebody begin to like me, I'll become good enough. Or I get more likes and follows on
Yeah.
Facebook and Instagram, then I'll become good enough. And she said something that touched my heart. She said, you are good enough right now. She said, don't miss your moment.
Mm-hmm.
She said, don't be like Moses and miss your promise, because your promise is here.
Yeah.
And I think she was trying to tell me that she missed a lot of moments in her life. And
Mm-hmm.
she said, I love you so much. And she said, I don't want you to miss none of your moments. She
Yeah.
said, get it in your head that you are good enough right now, and to love yourself absolutely as you are. And so, like, this is where all of that come from, you
Yeah.
know, just through everything that I've been through. But,
That's great words of
it's,
encouragement. It was great words of encouragement for you in the season that you're currently in. And it's great encouragement for
mm-hmm,
all of us who are tuned in, who are listening, that we
yeah,
are good enough right now.
yeah,
Right
right
before
now.
before you know
I
you
know.
make the six figures, before you have all of the perfect everything, you are good
Yes.
enough right now. And those are
You
great
are good enough
words.
right
And
now.
I believe that is a message that God wants us all to hear, that we are good enough the way we are. Is there learning that
Yes,
needs to take place? Absolutely. Is
yes.
there growth and development that needs to take place? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But just know that you are perfect and you have more than enough.
Yes.
Now,
Mm-hmm.
when you quit this job, you said you were working in the kitchen and you got fed up. You just threw the dish rag down. You said, you know what? Let me go out here. I'm gonna go outside because there's got to be something better. Now, did you have the
Mm-hmm.
skill set to grow and start a business? Did you have a business concept in your mind when you decided to, you know what, this is enough, and walked out? Did you have the business
So,
in your mind already?
man, I really didn't know where I was really gonna go. But when I walked off and I went home and I started cleaning my house, and again, my child was like 2 or 3 years old at this time, and I had a book that I had wrote in 2009, being that this is 2013. And so I'm like, I need to call my publisher back from 2009. I still had all her information.
Mm-hmm.
I had paid for the book in 2009.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I ended up calling her, and I was like, I want to finish my book, because I was scared to write my autobiography, talk about almost being molested, this and that, because we were told what goes on in this house
Yeah.
stays in this house. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I was afraid.
Yeah.
I'm still 25, 26 years old. I'm still scared. I don't know what to do. I don't have many people to talk to. And she said, I think we lost your book. She said, I remember you. What happened to you? She was so
Wow.
excited to hear from me. Yes. And so she said, I think we lost it, blah, blah. You gotta start all over again. But
Yeah.
anyway, she called back like 2 hours later. She said, Demetria, I found your book cover. I found your book. She said, you only owe $350. And I was like, man, I got to get this $350. And I ended up getting it. I'm not going to lie. I borrowed it
Yeah.
and I paid for the rest of my publishing, and I made my money. I was able to pay the person back that I borrowed from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I wrote my book. I had a book signing at a small little place, and I charged like $25 for people to come eat and to get a signed copy of the book. So that's where it all started. I
Yeah.
went back and I
Let me
began
find out that was your
something.
first event.
Yeah, yeah, it is. Actually, no, that was actually my second event.
Okay,
Yeah,
nice, nice.
I had an event in my living room in 2009. I had a
Uh-huh.
little gathering. Yeah, in
Nice.
2009, people came over,
Listen,
and
and people
so
don't realize that the skill sets are there. They're waiting,
yeah,
they're waiting
yeah,
for this grand reveal, but you literally just tapped into something that you were familiar with doing. You
mhm,
had people come
mhm,
over, we sit and talk,
mhm.
you can cook a little something. You have people come over and get your book, sign it, you
I'm
eat,
gonna
you
I'm
merry.
gonna take you back for just a moment. I
Uh-huh.
remember when I was 9 years old. I had a big bash at my mom's house. I
Uh-huh.
got a whooping and everything for it. But I went to the store
Wow.
down the street and I bought the food. I don't know how, how they be serving at them gas stations.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I was 9 years old and my mom
Oh
was gone. She
my.
said, stay your butt at the house. And I went and got all that food. I bought napkins. I used her money. And I came
Wow.
right back to the house. I invited all the kids in the neighborhood and we had the music going. My mom came in there. She was like, "What is going on up in here?" And I
Wow.
remember that.
Wow.
I was like,
Wow.
sometimes we don't know. I was planning my first event. I was 9 years
Wow.
old.
You learned
Girl, we
some
had
better
Tootsie
ways to
Roll
do it,
on.
right?
Yeah, Tootsie Roll is old. The song Tootsie Roll, all that. We had all the jams
Wow.
on back from the 90s. So,
So you literally tapped into a skill set that you once
yeah.
got punished for, right? You got punished for it, but you literally was able to tap into that skill
Yeah.
set, and it literally, just metamorphed into, this business, into this thing that it is that you do. So you
Yeah.
just mentioned that you were in California. Mind you, you don't live in California, but you
Mhm.
hosted an event in California because it was
I
on your
did.
vision board, right? That's what she told me before.
Yeah.
It was on her vision
It
board.
was on
So,
it.
so tell us about these events that you are now hosting. Now that we got that visual of you hosting parties and such at the age of 9.
So I just hosted my sixth annual in Hollywood, California, 2 weeks ago,
Yes.
September the 16th. I planted a girls' day out. I invited some of the girls. We went to the Jennifer Hudson show, and we got to experience that. But the whole time I was there, y'all know what I was just my vision was on a whole nother level.
Yeah.
I was like, so this how they do like we was seeing absolutely everything,
Nice.
not just the show, but we had to go through so many securities. We were seeing the cameras, we were seeing how they do this, how the people actually walk. Like they don't show all that on these,
Yeah.
like Sherry Shepherd. They don't show everything on
Yeah.
all the show, the TV shows, but we was getting to see like the behind the scenes. And so I definitely wanted those two ladies to experience that with me, and we had an amazing time, and we ate at we was like, we're going to go eat at one of the most expensive restaurants, try to find the most expensive restaurants. And we was at the Beverly Hills Hotel. Listen, a glass of champagne cost $50,
Wow.
and we was, girl, fries was like $40 for some French fries.
Wow.
But we just wanted to experience it, and
Yeah.
we did, and we had an amazing time. People was leaving $2,000 tips,
Wow.
and listen,
Wow.
like it was nothing. And I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, this is where I want to, this is where I want to be tonight.
You
But
gotta be in the
anyway,
room. You gotta be in those circles. They say go where the rich people are. That's how you get the vision, right? Because if you never have the
yeah,
vision, how would you even know? Like if you never experienced anything, like you
yeah,
wouldn't know. So yeah, you
yeah,
gotta get in those rooms. You're not saying that you're gonna be there every weekend eating in these restaurants with these $40 fries, but you certainly do want to plan for an experience, right?
yes,
You plan for the
yes,
experience and you lived
hmm,
off of that moment. I love it.
yes, yes. And I've hosted my first 4 events in Atlanta. I'm
Okay.
from Louisiana, and so basically, it's some work.
Hmm.
And I put in the work to host these events all the way from an area that I know nothing about, and I did it. I'm like, okay, this year we're going to Hollywood. We're going to Los Angeles. I'm going to host this event there. And those prices was different
Hmm.
than absolutely any other areas,
Yeah.
because you're paying for parking, you're
Yep.
paying for this, you're paying. I like, these people would charge you to breathe
Yep. If they
out here.
could. Yep.
If they could, you are paying to breathe in Los Angeles.
Listen, true
But
indeed.
but yeah, so I connected to some amazing people, and it was some lessons that I had to learn. But it was some lessons in that, some good lessons
Yeah.
in that to learn. Man, I got on the flight, so it took me 3 hours to get to the train station. From the train station, it took me 8 hours to get to Atlanta. From
Wow.
Atlanta, we had to stay overnight, catch the plane. Okay, now we're headed out to Los Angeles. Me and a good friend of mine. Here I am. I'm afraid to fly. And so I'm like on the plane. I'm like, I'm about to get off. I'm about to get off. And there was there it is again. That common intuition was like, you're okay.
Yeah.
This is you had to do this. You had, I'm like, no, I can't. I kept telling my friend, I can't believe what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And we got there. I mean, we it was some work, but I had some people behind me, man, that was there for me, and I had an amazing person who was like, you need people like
Absolutely.
this in your life. I'm
Mm-hmm.
talking about down from the sponsorship.
Yeah.
From the sponsorship, I had an amazing girl um that sponsored so much.
Yeah.
I called all types of, I mean, like, and at first I was just like, I'm just going, I'm like, it was like, go, you have to go. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, why? But it was so much emotions, you
Yeah.
know, it was like, it was a lot, man, but it was the best thing. I was like, this was so meant to be.
Yeah.
And the speaker showed up. We had the photo. It was just amazing. It was an
Nice.
all around amazing experience that
And
I would
that's what
never forget this
And
one.
that's what living life on purpose looks like. So it
Yeah.
doesn't matter if the caterer burnt the food. It doesn't matter if all of the people who purchased a ticket didn't show up to the event.
Yeah,
Those
that
little
was one of my
minute
biggest
things
things.
don't
Yeah.
matter.
Hmm.
What matters
Yeah.
is that you did what it is that you had promised yourself, the vision that you had,
Yeah.
and you got it done. You wanted to be in the Los Angeles, the Hollywood, California area, and you did that. Check it off,
Yeah.
right? You wanted to
Yes.
be in Atlanta for those
Yeah.
events, you check it off, right? So
Yes.
it is a power. There's a power that gets exuded from when you work in your purpose. Because had you
Yeah.
stayed where you were, too scared to take the step,
Mm.
not thinking that you were enough, not thinking that you were
Yeah.
called for greater, we would have
Yes.
never gotten these multitude of experiences that you have been
Yeah.
producing. Now I know you are working on one for next year. Tell us the
Yeah.
title, when that next year's event is going to be, because we're going to have the link in the description box so people can start getting
Yeah.
their tickets now.
Yes, thank you so much. You are so
Welcome.
amazing. Let me just tell you that. Thank you so much. So next year, this will be my seventh annual. I'm like seventh, wow.
Wow.
But this would be my seventh annual Free Yourself Entrepreneur Wellness Summit. And I call this one Free Yourself because this year I have to free myself from a lot of things that have been holding me back. As I look around, I'm like, the only person that has been holding you back is you. No more can we blame the devil. No more can we
Mhm.
blame sisters, your mom, your aunt, friends who you thought was your friends, your husband, your ex, your
Yeah.
this. No. And I was letting people treat me really bad.
Mm.
I was letting people from when I was younger hit me, talk to me any type of way or anything. But I said, this is over. This is done.
Yeah.
Because you still think that I'm that girl that I used to be. I'm no longer her.
Yeah.
Because the old me had to die in order for the new me to be reborn. And
Yes.
that came with showing the people and setting boundaries. You can no longer treat me like this.
Yeah.
No, this ain't happening. And I had to block family members. I had to do this, had to go off on some people to show them,
Come
you
on.
know what I'm saying? Demetria ain't having it this
That's
year
right. That's
because I'm
right.
quiet. I sit in the back. And I said, I'm quiet for a reason.
There you
And
go.
so, yeah, I had to get bucked a few times because I'm like, no, you're not treating me this like, no, you're not putting your hands on me no more. No, 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 this not happening no more. And so when I freed myself, I was like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
yeah. And
Um,
so this is about freeing yourself, no longer blaming or nobody else for your life. Everything is up to you.
that's right.
Yeah.
That you have the power, and you
Yeah.
have definitely given us the perfect testimony of that. Like you
Mhm.
literally just said, you know what, bump this. Right? No,
Mhm.
I'm not going to do this type of work anymore. You can't come in here
Right.
and mistreat me anymore. You can't pay me
No,
this low amount of money anymore. Like you
no,
decided that you were worth
no.
more.
Oh
And
yeah.
I'm so grateful to have you here today to share this word of
Thank
encouragement with
you.
everyone. And I really want people to make the decision to be in the
Yeah.
room, because it's when
Yeah.
you're in the room, when you have the
Mm-hmm.
experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it is just about the experience. So
Yes.
tell us
Yes.
where it's going to be at this year. Where are we going this year?
So
Well,
next year,
2024. Yes.
yeah, we got it. Yeah, so we'll be in Houston, Texas, and I have my venue, and I am so thankful. Actually, I'll be going to Houston really soon, to just look at my venue more. And I mean, it's so beautiful, and just the moment, just experiencing with these events, means so much to me. Means so much to me, of these women coming out and connecting with one another. Somebody may have something that you need. You may find your best friend, your good
Yeah.
friend, or
Yeah.
anything that you need, and connecting with one another. And then just hearing the speakers coming out for that day, having some good food. We're gonna hit the dance floor. We're just gonna have an amazing time, and I'm super excited. We're gonna bring the limos out,
Nice,
absolutely everything.
nice,
Oh,
nice.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
I love it. So I want to let everybody know you have to have this experience. So if you're not in the
yeah.
Houston, Texas area, listen, you got a whole year to start planning it out. If you've never
Oh
been to
yeah,
Houston, Texas before, this is your opportunity to make certain that you get in the
yeah,
room. You can say, you know what, I've never been to Houston before. Let me go
yeah,
check it out. Let me go see what Houston
yeah,
has to offer, so you can have
yeah,
that all around experience. So the
yeah.
description box is going to have the Eventbrite link where you can go and get your tickets now. You do not want to delay. I understand it's a year out, but you don't wait till the week of the month before to decide. You have to decide
No,
now.
register now.
Register now. Book your
Yes.
hotel rooms now. Start
Yes,
pricing
we
flights
have the hotel
now.
links on there. Yes. We look
Yes.
forward to
So
have
this,
bringing you in. We look forward
yes.
to bringing you there.
Yes, I'm excited. I'm excited. Now, I have been to
Yeah.
Texas before, but you know what?
Mm-hmm.
I am excited about getting into a different space, right? Getting
Yes.
into a different space
Yes.
around different people. We always claim we can't get anywhere in life because we're still around the same old
Mm-hmm.
people. Maybe you need some
Mm-hmm.
fresh ideas. So you got to start getting into
Yes.
these fresh rooms, into these new rooms. So I'm believing
Yes.
by faith that the people are going to come out. They're going to pack this event out, and we are all
Yes.
going to have an
Definitely.
amazing time freeing
Yes.
ourselves from the
Yes.
past, from the things that no longer serve and to suit us, right? So this is a new
Yes.
season. We're getting ready to get started into a
Yes.
new year, and we're going to definitely bring the momentum. So
Oh
Demetria, I
yeah.
am so excited that you came and you were able to share with us on today. Do
Yeah.
you have any parting words of encouragement for the women as we conclude this segment?
Man, for the women out there, as I said before, man, let that old you die, the old ways of doing things, and let that say yes to that new you, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's scary, man. And I've been on some scary rides in my life, and I had to go forward. And I, even with that plane ride, that was, whew. But when I got up there, I was okay. I was like, okay, you know. But I just want to encourage you to keep going, to follow your intuition, follow that gut feeling, because that's God leading you. He's guiding you, and you won't go wrong. And man, just blessings to so many women out there, especially mothers. Um, and yeah, just definitely just keep going, and believe in yourself. Most of all, believe in yourself. Even when somebody else tell you you can't do something, don't let nobody tell you that you can't do anything out of the fear of them,
Mm-hmm.
not believing that they can do it.
Yeah,
And so
I
just
love
believe in yourself, and you can do anything you want.
Amen to
You
that,
can
right?
have
Because
anything
you
you
are
want.
enough, right? Right now,
Yeah.
we are
You can
enough.
have. Yeah,
Absolutely.
you are enough right now. I think that's good. That's a word right there all by itself. You are good
Yes,
enough
indeed.
right now. Yeah.
Amen. Amen. All right, my dear, you hang out for a second. Listen, wasn't
Yes.
that an amazing conversation? We were blessed, we were encouraged, and we were most importantly inspired. So I hope that you all have enjoyed this segment just as much as I have. And I look forward to sharing with you all more on the next segment of the Black Girl Encourage Her. God bless.